I went camping on the weekend and we didn't have electricity, but when I do have electricity, I like to use these two heaters. Let's switch this. And both of them trip the breaker now because what happens is the wires. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my new Armstrong screwdrivers for the first time. Just got them a little while ago, but I'm kind of saving them. So this came from Amazon. I think it's Amazon. Williams, not Armstrong. Williams. Did I say Armstrong? I think Armstrong's out of business, but Williams is still kind of going. I think it's the same Williams from years ago. That's got to be a company that's 100 years old, so it's probably owned by probably new owner. So I always like this style screwdriver. Like that's a snap-on kind of design. I don't know if Williams made the screwdrivers for snap-on or if they just copied. These are, 20, 30-year-old design. I bought is it an 8-piece set? Yeah. There's a whole bunch of different sets you can buy. This was the most affordable one for what I need. I ordered. I can't stand using cheap screwdrivers. I want to throw them in the garbage. So this is the one I really need. This is the one that wears out, and it's absolutely, you cannot fix one of these. I don't think you can redo the tip on a Phillips. And then you have to have a Phillips to get into these. You can't use I think this is what I need. Hope it's not Torx. Yeah. Let's get into it. So these heaters I bought 10 years ago. This one's, I think, a 2013. January 2013. 120 volt. Little tiny heater. And I bought it because one of the tractors we had, the controls would freeze up on it. I guess they had a little tiny bit of moisture in there. When you park the machine, it would, it's going to freeze because there's no heat in the cab. It's got a heated cab and all that, and it's dry in there. There's no rain getting in there or anything. I don't know where the moisture comes from, but yeah, spiders. Spider left the nest. But when you get in it the next time to use it, you had to make damn sure you're pointing the chute of the snowblower, rotated, and the deflector in the spot where you need it for the first 5 minutes. And if it wasn't, sometimes you'd be tired and you'd forget to point it where you want it. And you couldn't really use the snowblower because it would be blowing in the wrong spot and you couldn't move it. The controls were frozen until you got a little bit of heat in the cab. So I thought, how can we avoid this from happening? It got to be a real problem because as the machine gets older, this becomes more of a problem, I guess. A little bit of wear. And I think the moisture must come in when you're driving. It's down on the fender and the wheel's right underneath. So long story short, I bought this little electric heater. I bought one of these type of style heaters. And I started putting it in the cab of the tractor. And we're plugged in on a government facility, so we're not paying the electric bills. So I set it on low because the block heater is more important. It's more important the motor starts. These engines won't start, and those little diesels won't start if they're not plugged in. And this thing's got 3 settings. So you got fan only, you got 1, and you've got 2 for the heat. So I guess there's 2 elements in there, and one would come on, or both, if you want high heat. And then if it gets knocked over, you got this little button, so it won't burn the tractor to the ground. That was my biggest fear, is the thing burning, catching fire. Oh, look at that. We're in. So, pretty sure we got. Oh yeah, we gotta cut this little sticker. You gotta get a knife. No, these are sharp. The screwdriver will work. So I don't have to worry about voiding any warranty. Yeah, there's two little elements. Yeah, this needs a good cleaning. There's your little micro switch right there. Not very well lit in here, is it? I'll turn some more lights on. I'm in the motorhome because I have time to do this right now. But what happens is, getting to my point of my story, these electric cords are made of a type of plastic that's not really suitable for sub-freezing temperatures. So it turns to like almost glass at minus 10, minus 20. So as you bend it around in those temperatures, it just shatters like glass. So I think this one here broke up here where the door closed on it. It's been repaired. The cab of the tractor has, where it pinches it where the door closes. And then in here where it bends, it needs like a, yeah, it's broken right there. So I'm just tripping the breaker. What I'm going to do, I'm probably going to put a new cord on this. Maybe I'll reuse this one. I don't have plans to use this in the tractor cabs anymore. It's just going to be used for camping now. And these heaters are cheap. They're like 20 bucks. But they work. This thing, there's nothing wrong with it. It still works fine. It just needs the electric cord fixed. It'll last another 10 years. I'm hoping. What I should do is put a new cord. I think for today, I'm just going to shorten that cord up a little bit. Hopefully I have all the tools I need right here. Hope you guys can see pretty good. Check and see. Yeah, I'll zoom you in a little bit there. I tell you, these Williams screwdrivers just feel really good. That zooming in is not, it's very touchy. Okay. So we're going to just disconnect it right here. Really simple fix. A lot of power tools end up having this problem where the little stress relieving, there's usually a piece of rubber on it, like a drill or something, that stress relieves so it doesn't break the wire. That makes it kind of do an arc instead of a sharp bend. So there's our problem right there. And I think that's it. I may have to put a Moret. We call them in Canada, we call them Morets here. Cut that. Yeah, I think I'm just going to reuse what I got here. Okay, good. I'll get my needle nose pliers. Yeah, I want to be able to use, when I do some painting in the shop, I have a pretty big shop. This time of year it gets cold. It gets down to, 50, 45 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not really warm enough for painting, so I'll set one of these heaters up. If it's something like a small item, I'll point one of these at it, just blow heat right on, and it'll dry the paint really quick. It's got many uses, these little heaters, but I haven't been able to use them because they're tripping the breaker. Yeah, there we go. Get in there and get that off. I don't think this heater here, it doesn't have that little switch on the bottom. There's our problem. These two wires are connecting here. When you twist, sometimes it would work, and then once I just move the heater a little bit, and it would trip the breaker, or sparks would shoot out. So there's your problem right there. Hope you guys can see. Now my solution is I meant to grab a couple of Moretz wire caps, I think they call them in the States. It's getting cold here now. It's November. It went down to around 28 degrees, 29 degrees a couple of nights ago. Not ideal for camping. So we're gonna have to. I got two propane furnaces in here. But if I'm plugged in somewhere, I can use these little heaters. I wasn't plugged in on the weekend. But if I'm running the generator, I can run these little heaters. The generator's not really being optimized. So we watched a movie at night, and the whole time the generator's running. And it's charging the batteries up, which is good. And the hot water tank runs on both electric and propane. So it was running the hot water tank, but I could have had one or both of these heaters going instead of the furnace running. The furnace made a lot of noise. It's hard to hear the movie. Yeah. I like these little heaters. They're handy. I think I got 3 or 4 of them. So that's all I'm going to do is just fix maybe one of them. Maybe this one here, I'll put a new cord on it. It hasn't been repaired. Tighten a knot here. Got a knot going on here. See, you can tell I've been using it for painting. That's paint from the backhoe. That yellow, that Power Tan, I think it's called. Case Power Tan. Maybe this one I'll put a new. It's the same issue with this one. So I'll get a couple of Moretz, maybe 4. And I'll go look for a power cord for that one. I could get that rubber kind of cord that's made for outside. It would be ideal for these. And you can use it outside. I do plan on using it once in a while in the cab of the tractor if I need to. It doesn't just keep, when you use a heater inside of a cab, I had one guy ask me, one of the guys working for me, why do you do that? As soon as you open the door, all the heat comes out. Well, that's not the case, because what you're really doing is you're heating up all the metal and all the steering wheel steel. Underneath that plastic steering wheel is a big chunk of steel. The windshield's glass, it's clear. There's no ice, no fog, not fogged up, no ice. And most of all, the controls work immediately. The hydraulic levers inside the cab. That's where I have the heat blown right on them. It's a big cast iron, and you can. I would get in that machine, and I'd go about 10 or 15 minutes before I even turn the fan on the heater because it was so warm in there. So you're not just heating air; you're heating up all the solid stuff inside that machine. I think I'm gonna have to cut this back, cut this right off, right these all together. That's just like that's crimped. And we'll do that. Unless that's what I'm gonna do. Just connect all six. There's four wires gonna be connected here. I did not bring my wire strippers. I should have brought those. I think I have a set out. When you have an RV, there's always something to fix. Always. Like there's never a moment where there's not something to fix. Right now I got a couple of little things on the list, but where did that go? But I'm not gonna do them today. I gotta actually winterize this because it's gonna go down to really below freezing there in a couple of days. It's supposed to go up to 70 degrees tomorrow. 75 maybe. What's that? Fahrenheit is Celsius is 20 degrees. So there you go. So I'm not worried about winterizing it today, but tonight, by the end of the day, I'm gonna winterize it. That's all we're gonna do. Is gonna connect these up. One right on here. That should go on. Yeah, we'll put that back on. That's fiberglass. It's just to keep the. I don't know what that's for actually. It doesn't really make sense that piece in there. But they put that there in the factory, so we'll do the same. Yeah, if I stay at a friend's and we're plugged in, I'll run these heaters. Yeah. Doesn't take much heat to heat. It's not very big, the motorhomes. 36 feet by 8 feet wide, 8 feet high, 7 feet high maybe. Okay, I think I'm going to reuse this. Or I should just crimp on one of these blades. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'll run and get one of these little spade connectors, and then I'm ready for this. And we got one repaired. We'll test it. Could use a bit of heat right now. And I'm gonna get a cloth and we'll wipe out the inside a little bit. Use the compressor maybe and blow it out. You just got a little dial there. That's it. And then there's an LED light there. Oh, that's metal. That looked like plastic. I thought that was a plastic blade. Pretty rinky dink. Oh, if you like these kind of these old snap-on screwdrivers, these are available on Amazon. And made by Williams. I mean, they're beautiful. Feel really nice. You know, it's nice to have a brand new screwdriver. You got the large Phillips. I think that's a number 3. Yeah, number 3. And then you've got this is the 0 or number 1. That's number 1. This is the one I really use. You know, that's the one everybody uses the most. Number 2. Phillips. And then a whole bunch of different regular, these flat tip, regular tip I call them. You got 5 of these, ranging in from the biggest to the smallest. I think this one here, that's like your carburetor screwdriver. I like them. These will go in when you really need a really good screwdriver. These won't be for, you know, hammering on or anything. And I don't think they're expensive. I can't remember what I paid, but and made in the USA and China. I don't know if they're gonna be made in most places, but somehow they make them in both. There's the product code is. Comes with this nice case. I gotta put them somewhere. I haven't decided where I'm gonna put them, but they're not gonna go in with the regular screwdrivers. They're gonna be. I think they'll be kept separate. Okay, well we put this one aside. We'll open this one up. All the screws. Now this one here, they managed to conceal all the screws somehow. This is like a filter in here in the back. I've had this out before. It's broken in the same spot. I can't get this thing out. I have a couple of these, at least 2 of these. I like this one. It's just they must have a little weight in the bottom because it's very solid. It doesn't seem to want to fall over. Okay, screwed shut. Okay, there's a screw in there. I just broke the frame tab. I don't need that too badly though. I didn't see that screw. Anyway, screwed in. I guess you can leave the screw out and use the little manual. Yeah, it needs to be washed. Okay, there's the screws. Yeah, this is a little more, probably a little more expensive heater. I think it's what you call a ceramic heater. I don't think I've ever opened one of these up. So I think the other one I have, like this, has got the same issue. It's cracked right there. I'm thinking this one I'm going to go get a cord for it. I should have done that before I started this live video, but I didn't. Yeah, so we had Halloween was just last week. Tomorrow's the election day in the US. It's going to be a crazy day tomorrow. I don't know how many people are going to be watching that, but that affects us quite a bit up here in Canada, what goes on down there. So I don't know what people are thinking, but I think these are crazy times. So there we go. That's like a little computer fan. Well, that's pretty simple. Yeah, so we're just going to hook our wire right in there. One connection there. The other one goes in behind here. Okay, I have to cut that tie wrap. Yeah, this one's dirty. So they've been putting in a dirty old tractor cab for. Is that a rivet? It's either a rivet or some sort of theft-proof screw. You can't fix this yourself. Anti-theft screw is what you call it. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like a regular. You got a regular screw, but it's got a little spot in the center which is not grooved out. So I don't know how I'm gonna get that screw out of there. I probably won't be able to. I'll try one of these other ones. There we go. No problem. Anti-theft. My ass. Anti-tamper. They don't want you fixing this stuff. All stuff is like that now. They don't want you fixing anything. So they want you to buy a new heater or bring it to them to fix. Well, you're not going to bring this to them to fix. Let's have a look at that screw. So they don't want you doing anything anymore. I'll get another screw for that. You can just cut this right here. Maybe I'll put my wraps down in here. One of these. Pop that out of there. I think I gotta pull, I forget how these work. I think you gotta pull this little piece out here. These are nothing but a pain. You don't want you fixing nothing anymore. It's moving. I'm gonna cut that right there. Maybe I shouldn't cut it. It's jammed in there somehow. I got a whole bunch of painting to do, and I painted a rim last week sometime, and it was cold in the shop, and I left it overnight, and I couldn't use these heaters because they're both out of commission. So what's nice about these little heaters is they don't really heat up the whole shop, but they'll heat my part, whatever I'm painting, and dry the paint really nicely overnight. It was just warm enough that it took a day and a half, 2 days for the paint to dry, but I think with the heater in 8 hours it's dry. So, dry enough to put a second coat. Well, it was a tire that I think I made a new rim. What I did was took one of the Kubota rims and I made I cut the center right out of it. I ground the welds, and the little disc in the middle, I punched it out with a piece of 2x4, and then I repositioned it where the Ransom, it's the same wheel as the Ransom, just that center is about 1.25 inches more towards the outside. So I moved it out 1.25 inches, re-welded it back in. It was all rusty, that rim. I picked the rustiest, ugliest Kubota rim I had, ground all the rust off, sanded it, I spray painted it, and then I reinstalled it on the Ransom now. So I have a spare wheel for that. So I have a flat, and I called the tire shop locally here on Friday and asked them if they had a tube that size that I need. And of course they said they'd call me back, which they never did. No one ever calls you back. So that tire's still not fixed. So I'm going to call them again today and say, listen, man, I'm not wasting my time driving there if you don't have it. So just check and see if you got it, and I'll come and pick it up. It's like a $25 tube. I can't get that out. These things are nothing but a pain. So I want to get that original tire fixed so I can put that one on, and I'll always have a spare. You know, these tractors, when you have a flat, you can't even drive the machine. It's the bottom of the mower deck goes right into the ground, and you can't even drive it back and forth. So you have to have a tire to put on it. It's the hardest thing in the world to jack up when it's got a flat. If you can use an air tank, I've made a couple air tanks. I can pump the tire up and get a jack underneath it because it's so low that you can't even get a jack underneath the frame. There's literally about 4.5, 5 inches of space, and the jack is like 3 inches tall. So, and if you're on soft soil, you got to have a piece of plywood or a piece of steel. I have a little 1/8 or a 1/4 inch piece of steel I put in there usually, and put the jack on it so it doesn't sink in the ground. I changed the tire a couple of weeks ago. I took the tire off. I thought I had it fixed, and I cleaned all the bead and everything and remounted it, put it back on, and it was still leaking. It's leaking through the sidewall of the tire, so it's got a little pinhole. I think it's just weather checked from years and years of cutting grass. So it still has a slow leak. So then what I did was I tried to put the tire back on it, and the jack fell over. And I mean, it jammed underneath there. It was not pretty. It was absolute nightmare. I think it took me close to an hour to get that, figure out I had to get every jack I had and try everything to. And what happens is when that falls over, the plastic fuel tank is on one side, and the plastic hydraulic oil tank is on the other side. Well, the jack is jammed between the plastic tank. I was hoping if it broke that tank, I don't know, it would have been expensive to buy a new tank, if you can even still get one. So anyway, I got it. I don't want to be doing this. That's why I made the spare tire for it. I made a rim for it because I have a whole bunch of Kubota rims, and if I have a spare next time, I'll be pulling one wheel off and putting that spare on, and no more fooling around and risking doing that again. It's got to be the worst machine I own for trying to jack it up. I think the loader's easier to jack up. The backhoe jacks itself up. You never need a jack for the backhoe as long as it's running and all the hoses and everything and the cylinders all work. Why isn't this coming out? I'm just going to pull it as hard as I can. There we go. Just going to end up breaking this off. It's just jammed right in there. Yeah, that's broken. That thing really locks it in there, I tell you. I don't know. I can't get it to move. Oh, you know what? I think I have to. I know what I gotta do. Gotta push that a little. Because it's kind of cold in here, this is kind of working against me. There's a little clip on here, I think. Get a bigger one. I had it's less than 24 years ago because my son was born. He was I think he was an infant. He was less than a year old, and someone broke into my garage in my first house, not this house where I'm living now, and they still had a bunch of Snap-on tools in there. It's not I didn't have a bunch. I had a few. I can't afford Snap-on, so I bought a few here and there, garage sales in different places, and I had maybe about 6 or 8, mostly screwdrivers, a couple of wrenches and things. Well, every tool got stolen. My whole toolbox disappeared. And the insurance company would not, they would replace the Snap-on stuff with like Sears Craftsman or something, but they wouldn't replace it with Snap-on unless you have the original receipts, original purchase receipt. So yeah, I was not happy. So that was the end of my Snap-on collection at that time. So, and I've never bothered to buy Snap-on tools since then because they're just kind of out of my price range. Like a Snap-on set of screwdrivers now is what, $300, maybe 400. I don't know. I don't know what it would be. This is an 8-piece set, so I bet you Snap-on have an 8-piece set. And, if anybody knows what it costs for an 8-piece set of Snap-on, this kind of set, let me know. I'd imagine it would be $300. So you can buy nice Sears screwdrivers for about 50, 60 bucks. Maybe even get more than 8-piece, maybe get 10 pieces. That's why I've never, I really love Snap-on tools. I love them. But I just, I can't justify spending that kind of money on them, so I never bothered. I have a friend who's got all Snap-on stuff. And he said someone stole, what happens is ends up one of his own employees stole a whole bunch of his stuff. He thinks he knows who it is, but if it was Sears stuff or Proto or, up here we have Canadian Tire and we have Harbor, not the Canadian version of Harbor Freight is Princess Auto. So if you got Power Fist tools, nobody's going to steal those. But you got Snap-on, it's like a Target. Someone walked off with a bunch of his wrenches, a bunch of his stuff. I think we'll get that out eventually. This is a pain in the ass, this thing here. I don't want to break the housing. It's too cold in here, that's the problem. This plastic is not very flexible. No, it's not coming out. Anyway, it's a simple fix. I thought, you know what, a live video is great because I can just chit chat and get up to date. I didn't make very many videos this summer. I was just too busy with work, and I worked a lot of hours. I was not in the shop. I don't spend hardly any time at all in my shop in the summer. So the content, there's just no content, nothing. I didn't even have time to make what I really liked doing last year was what is it called? On my Wednesdays, I did Weird Tool Wednesdays. So I have a whole bunch of those. I think there's 20 or 21 of them mostly from last year. I did a few this year, and I didn't have time to make them this year at all. So I found a bunch of weird tools, but I just never did videos on them. We had a big event here in July, so we spent the month of June trying to get ready for that here. There's a lot of trees that had fallen down, and it's big property. Spent a lot of time working around here, and always seems like we're always behind a little bit. So this is not coming out. Black table, black plastic parts. You guys probably can't see anything, but this, I'm going to just break that thing right out of there. Yeah. That's the piece right there. I don't know, fall's my favorite time of year. Because I take a little time for myself, and I love the cooler weather. I don't really enjoy too much of that heat in the summer. I just struggle in that heat. And working outside my whole life, so I don't have air conditioning. And isn't that chirping? I think that's a battery, a little battery on something, a fire smoke detector or something I gotta fix. Another thing on the list. There we go, got it out, finally. Yeah. This little thing. What a pain. That locks your cord in there. But, you know, whatever cord I'm going to use is probably not going to be, yeah, well, probably won't fit through this. Let's see. Yeah. Maybe I'll use this cord on the other one. It's not damaged. This one's been repaired right here. It's all taped up. It's a crack right there where the door closed. Pretty sure that's what happened with this one. So after I started using these heaters, the first one, I think this is the first one here. It might be, I don't know, might not be. So after I started using that first one, I realized that, wow, that makes a huge difference. Like your glass is all clean. Everything's warm in there. Your seat's warm. You're sitting on a nice warm seat. And so I bought a whole bunch of them. I bought every tractor we had. We had 4 tractors on different sites, but I think 2 or 3 of them are on one site. And so I had heaters in every cab, which was great because sometimes you got to get in the tractor for half an hour maybe. It just barely has time to warm up, and then you're parking it again, and the windows all fog up for the first 15 minutes until the heat's good and strong and it's dried everything out. So by having a heater in there, the glass is clean. You can start working right away. You don't have to worry about running into stuff because you can't see. And then your seat's warm. You're not shivering for the first 20 minutes. And then, yeah, we're not paying the electric bill. So the heat, mostly I would leave that heater run from December right through till March. Sometime in March, I'd start unplugging it. I wouldn't plug it in. If they're calling for a big snowstorm and I was there the day before, I'd plug it in and then I'd unplug. I'd leave it unplugged for sometimes a week. Well, we often get snow in the end of March and even into April. So it's a long winter up here in Canada. It's I think the last 5 years we've either had freezing rain or snow in April. 3 of the last 5 years, I would imagine. Yeah, so it's a tough winter. It's long. In October it can snow, but normally it doesn't. But November, usually we get snow. So it's 5 months, 4.5, 5 months of winter. It's long. I always look forward to an early spring, but yeah, I think I'm going to use this wire on this heater over here. And then we'll put, even though it's got paint all over it, it hasn't been repaired, so I think this rubber is a little more flexible. That's like a really cheap plastic. This one here is really cheap. And then we'll go look for a cord for this one. I have some yellow stuff, but I don't really want to use yellow. Not my favorite choice. And I'll get the wire strippers while I'm gone. So if I'm going to go on an intermission here. And I'll come back and hopefully we'll have a cord. I might have to put one of those ends on. And we'll have some Moretz. I got lots of Moretz. And we'll finish this job up. I gotta wash all the inside of this stuff. Wash this filter. Not too bad. I've cleaned those before. I think the compressor does a good job. I don't know what this came from. This must be out of this black heater. Don't know where this came from. It fell out of somewhere. Ah, it's right there. Okay. Should be 2 of them now. Yeah, there's the other one. Okay, it's just the little feet that go on the bottom. We'll put those in when we reassemble it. And then Yeah, this thing's really heavy. This heater here probably weighs double what this little white one weighs, because it's got the, I think that's a ceramic element. It's got a thermostat, this one. That's why I like this one so much. If you turn that thermostat down, it'll kick on when it needs to and shut off. When the cab gets warm enough, it shuts off. So I think I started using these because I didn't need to be there. I didn't need to worry about, the thing overheating the cab. But what I was worried about most with these heaters is if the temperature goes up to, you know, quite a warm temperature, and then you got this thing running full blast, not shutting off. Not this one so much. This little white one doesn't have a thermostat. It would just keep heating it up to the point where it could be dangerous, It's not very big, a little cab of a heater, cab of a tractor. So, I think with the thermostat, you could set it anywhere you want, and it'll kick on and off, which is nice. And then I think because these are a little more solid, they don't have to worry about them tipping over. I've got security people would trip on the wires on our tractors. They'd walk around by the tractor with no reason to do that, but I'd often park the tractor right up tight against wherever it's plugged in. Not enough room to walk through there, because the security people would walk through and trip on the wires, unplug it, and just keep right on going. And I'd show up at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, ready to start a 15-20 hour shift. Usually it's a big snowstorm and the tractor wouldn't even be plugged in. So this little LED light here, I would point that so that I could see it from my truck. And you show up at 3 in the morning, it's dark, you see that little red light, the heater's working. Or I'd just get out of the truck and go and check and make sure it's plugged in, because I can go work with the truck. Truck's got a plow on it, so I can start doing some stuff there, and then if it was like that, happened more often than you can imagine. 1 out of every 6 or 8 times I was there, somebody done plugged the wire. And plug it in, you give it an hour and it might start, but I know the little F-Series tractors we have, if they're not plugged in, they will not start with a boost or anything. They will not start, period. At minus 5 or minus 10 Fahrenheit. It's pretty cold. So you'd sit there with the booster cables and just crank it over and over and over, use the glow plugs, and it'll kick and kick and kick, but it won't start. So I think having it plugged in, it would start better than it would in the summertime, because the whole engine block would be warm. And I'd put a sheet of plastic. I'd open the hood of the tractor, and I had a sheet of plastic over the radiator so the wind wouldn't blow through there and take all the heat away. So it would be toasty warm in there. It would be warmer than it would be on a hot day in the summer. So, and that worked pretty good too. Yeah. Then also, if it's plugged in and covered in plastic like that, the antifreeze is warm already, so you'd have heat instantly, pretty well instantly. So, okay, I'm gonna run and I'm gonna look for a power cord, some barrettes, and the whole purpose of this video was just talk about what's up and what. I haven't done many videos, so the only way you guys can get an update is if I do a video. So doing a live one is probably the next best thing I can do. And then I want to talk about these Williams screwdrivers. There's a lot of stuff on Amazon that you can buy. It's hard to find a good quality screwdriver these days. There's so much poorly made stuff out there. You're using a screwdriver and the tip breaks off, and you're turning a screw and the corner of the tip breaks off, or these, especially when these get rounded over, you throw the whole screwdriver in the garbage. There's no rebuilding that, that's for sure. You can't regrind that. So yeah, maybe I'll end the video right here. See how many people are watching, because I haven't really kept track. Yeah, 3 people are watching. So there's a little heater. What's going on here? My zoom is acting like crazy here. There we go. So we're going to wrap it up. So I got parts all over the place. I think I'll end the video. It's been 50 minutes. I can't believe it's been 50 minutes. And we're going to put the cords back on these. It's always good to have a electric heat in the shop. A little bit of heat of some kind. Blow it on your parts that you're painting. Or this one seems to be my favorite. Airworks. Seems to work pretty good. It's 120 volts. How many watts? 1500, 1800 watts. Yeah. This one here is 1500 watts. So pick yourself up a little heater like that. They're pretty handy. And if you buy them in the summer, I started buying them in the heat waves of the summer. Nobody's going to buy a heater, but these stores like Walmart and what we have up here, Canadian Tire and so on, they stock these heaters year round because you never know. Like you got a basement of a house. My wife works sometimes in my basement office that I built for myself. So she uses the basement office. And on a cool day in the spring or fall, you almost need to turn the heat on for the whole house. Well, you just plug one of these in, point it at yourself, and you've got heat in a basement room. So that's why I think they sell these all year, because there are situations where you just need to heat up one room. You don't want to heat the whole house up. It would be too hot upstairs. And then if you turn the furnace on. So by running one of these, you just keep that one room comfortable, and it's not going to cost you a fortune to heat one room up. It's starting to rain outside. I had a job booked for today, but they were calling for rain, so I didn't go and do it. So I have to have no rain to do that job. So there you go. There's your Williams screwdrivers. There's the part numbers. The model numbers. There's the these are awesome. Like, I'm really, really thrilled to get. I'm not that crazy about screwdrivers, but these are really nice. And you got the little spot for a wrench to go on. Pretty handy. I like this big one. I don't know if they make the handles in the US and they make the shaft in China or something. I don't know. It says China, and I don't never see that. Made in USA and China. So that must be what they do, is they make something's made in China and something else is made in the US. Maybe they put this handle. These handles are really comfortable. So there you go. That's the end of I'm going to sign off right here. We'll end the video after 54 minutes. Thanks for watching.